The CPF story is at its heart the Singapore story, one of self-reliance, ingenuity, and constant adaptation. The CPF started off as a simple retirement savings scheme. Along the way, we enhanced and developed it to achieve other related objectives. I once met the late Lord Paul Miners. He was a British financial expert and a UK city minister. And he explained to me bluntly that with people living longer, there were basically only 3 ways for them to still have enough for retirement. 1, save more while working. 2, spend less every month to make your retirement savings last longer. Or 3, work longer and retire later. There's no other painless way out. And all countries are confronted with this trilemma. And neither can Singapore escape these choices. First, how to save more while working. How much is enough? The contribution rates have to be high enough to enable workers to meet their housing, medical, and retirement needs. But at the same time, firms, workers, and the economy must be able to afford paying these rates. Sometimes we went too far, and we had to cut back the contribution rates when we had overshot or when economic conditions changed drastically and we lost cost competitiveness. The first time this happened was in 1985, soon after I entered politics. By then, we had raised the total CPF contribution rate to 50%. 25 from employees, 25 from employers. 50%. But this proved too high to sustain. After resisting the decision for many months, we finally concluded that we had to cut the CPF employers' contribution rates, and we decided to do it sharply, 15 percentage point cuts. From employers went from 25 to 10. I can tell you it was a very painful decision. But we had to repeat this process twice more and cut rates twice more. Once in the Asian financial crisis, 97, 98, and again in the early 2000s after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It took us until 2015, just 10 years ago, before we finally reached our desired total contribution rate of 37%. Now 20 from employees, 17 from employers, which we think is about the right level for the long term. This leads to the second key question: how to manage the disbursement of CPF savings during retirement. And this is a delicate matter because people view their CPF savings as their own hard-earned money. They will always prefer more flexibility on what they can spend it on and when they can get hold of it. In 2009, we took another radical step. We introduced CPF Life, which is lifelong income for the elderly. It's part of the quiz later on when you visit the show, which converted members' CPF savings into annuities. CPF Life uses risk pooling to provide members with retirement payouts for life, however long they may live. And this was another major improvement to the scheme. So I think today our CPF withdrawal arrangements generally work well. It took a lot of thought to design the appropriate schemes. It took a lot of careful political explanation and patient persuasion to win Singaporean support. And it took a lot of time to phase in the changes over successive cohorts. But we have come a long way, and we have made the system work. we made a statutory retirement age by law, which was 60, and then later on, we raised that to 62. And when we raised it to 62, we also introduced a statutory re-employment age of 65. And in parallel, we shifted the bulk of CPF payouts to start from 65 to align with the re-employment age. But as we raise retirement and re-employment ages beyond 65, we decided not to correspondingly delay CPF payments further. Because by now we had in place the retirement sum schemes with basic, full, and enhanced retirement accounts, retirement sums, and we also had the CPF Life scheme. And this ensured a baseline of retirement adequacy for everyone, and we could afford to give Singaporeans more choice and control over their retirement arrangements. This delinking of the CPF withdrawal arrangements from the retirement age has made it much easier for us to raise our retirement and re-employment ages further and to encourage workers to work longer. Today, the national retirement age is 63, but many choose to continue working, perhaps in a lighter job, well beyond that. And we are on track to raise the retirement age to 65 and the re-employment age to 70 by 2030, in 5 years' time. The CPF's central philosophy of self-reliance remains as pertinent as ever. We recognize its limits for lower-income workers and for those who have not been in the workforce, such as housewives. Hence, the government complements members' own savings with targeted state support for those who need it more. The basic principle remains: you must try your best to provide for your own future needs. And if that is still not enough, the government will be there to help you. Second, each decision and change to the CPF system must be carefully thought through because it affects the lives and the plans of millions of people. And I'm glad today public trust in the CPF is very high. People faithfully make their contributions month after month and trusting their savings to CPF board. Many members also voluntarily top up their own and their family members' CPF accounts with cash. Just leave the money in the CPF's good hands. They are confident their money is safe and they know they are getting more than a fair deal. There's no perfect CPF system. We are in a generally good state now, but as circumstances change, as society's needs and working patterns change, and life expectancies lengthen further, we will have to revisit the topic again and again to adapt and update the CPF scheme to keep it fit for purpose for new generations. The CPF story is one such government policy, but the same can be said of so many others: housing, healthcare, education, security, and many more. Collectively, these tell the Singapore story too, one of self-reliance, ingenuity, and constant adaptation.